Test-Taking Strategies by SEC Counseling and Special Services. General rules for all tests. Scan the entire test before you start. Read the directions carefully. Budget your time and pace yourself. Answer questions you know first. If a question seems complicated or difficult to understand, break it down into understandable parts. Learn from the test. Often, the answer to a question is found in another test question. Multiple choice strategies. Answer the easy questions first, then the harder ones. Don't get nervous if some questions look unfamiliar. Skip them and return to them later. Pay attention to qualifiers, usually, none, always, never, and keywords such as except, all but the following, the best, the least. Try to anticipate the correct answer before looking at the options. Read all the options. Eliminate the ones you know are incorrect. Multiple choice guessing strategies. Guessing strategies are not a substitute for good study habits and test preparation. They are not foolproof, but they could help when you are not completely sure of an answer and need to narrow down the choices. Frequency of occurrence strategy. Look for items that appear in more than one of the choices. Example, the following languages are spoken in the Comoro Islands. A, Spanish and Arabic. B, Arabic and French. C, German and Italian. D, French and English. The correct answer is B because French and Arabic appear twice. Root and prefix clues strategy. Knowing root words will help in getting a partial meaning of a certain word. For example, cuprous metal would appear A, bronze-like, B, gold-like, C, silver-like, or D, copper-like. The correct answer is copper because Cu is the chemical symbol for copper. Similar choice strategy. Certain questions have answers that are closely related or almost identical except for one detail. This should be your clue to choose one of the two similar answers. Here is an example. A good communication technique to use when confronting someone is 1. An I message, 2. An I message, 3. A sharp remark, 4. Silence. Choose between 1 and 2, which are similar sounding. Opposite choice strategy. In some cases, the best choice is between two very different or opposite choices. For example, the meaning of cognizant is ignorant, aware, insensitive, or remorseful. Choose between 1 and 2, which are opposite responses. Grammatically correct strategy. If an alternative does not make a grammatically correct sentence, eliminate it. Here's an example. The basic purpose of an educational grant is 1. You need it to supplement college costs. 2. To help the financially needy student. 3. To promote college success. 4. Achieving high grades. Only 2 or 3 make a grammatically correct sentence. 3 is incorrect because a grant does not necessarily promote success. 2 is the correct answer. Keyword strategy. Choose a response that has the same or similar word in it as the question. An example is, the loci system of memorization is generally more effective than repetition because 1. It creates a location or loci in which to store information. 2. It forces one to repeat information again and again. 3. It makes information go directly into the long-term memory. 4. It is easier to use. 1 is correct because loci appears in both question and answer. Now we'll take a look at some true-false strategies. Watch for absolutes such as always, never, or all, and none. If they are present, chances are the statement is false. If a statement is more detailed or specific than most, chances are it is true. Never leave a blank. You have a 50% chance of getting it right. Unusual sounding statements are likely to be false. Most true-false tests contain more true answers than false answers. When in doubt, guess true. Every part of a true statement must be true. If any one part of the sentence is false, the whole sentence is false despite many other true statements. Essay test strategies. Read the essay questions. If you have a choice of answering 2 of 3 essay questions, decide which ones you are going to answer. Read the questions carefully and do everything that it asks you to do. Some essay questions contain more than one part. Budget your time and begin to plan. Outline or diagram the main points you want to cover. Write out examples, sources, and quotes you want to use to support your essay. Start with a thesis statement or idea that explains what you will be covering. Use the 5-paragraph method. The 5-paragraph method starts with the introduction, which tells what will be covered in the essay, and then it moves to the body that has 3 supporting claims or paragraphs. These should include examples, quotes, and sources to support. And finally, your conclusion, which should be short and to the point. Save time at the end so you can reread and revise your essay. Keep your eye on the time. Make sure you're not spending too much time on one answer at the expense of others. Short answer and fill in the blank strategies. Read the question carefully and make sure that you answer everything that it asks. These questions often ask for definitions or short descriptions similar to essay questions. Look for grammatical hints. For example, a sentence that begins with an indicates that the word starts with a vowel. Use the best word or phrase you can think of. If you don't know the answer, come back to it after you finish the rest of the test and make an educated guess. Other parts of the test may give you clues to what the answer may be. Matching columns strategy. Read all the items in both columns first before selecting answers. Instead of looking at the one-word column first and trying to select a match, read the column with the definitions or explanations and match those to the one-word column. Mark easy choices first and eliminate them as you move to the more difficult. Reducing test anxiety. Anxiety can usually be overcome through a student developing better skills that will improve their test-taking abilities. Get a good night's sleep and eat a proper meal before the test. Avoid caffeine and sugar if possible, since these will naturally raise your state of alertness, which will look or feel like anxiety the day of a test. Build in time to do a physical activity for at least 10 minutes before your exam. Start by answering only the questions you feel confident about. You will create confidence and a positive momentum for moving through the rest of the exam. Here is a pre-test checklist to reduce test anxiety. No last-minute cramming. Create a test study schedule for allotted times and stick to it. Organize all of your materials for the exam the night before. Get to the exam on time, but not too early. Arriving too early may create a situation where your anxiety balloons. Avoid speaking with any fellow students who are not prepared or who express negativity. Be cautious of talking with other students about the exam material just before going into the exam, especially if this situation has made you nervous or confused in the past. Acknowledge and prepare for reality. There will be some stress. And in fact, low amounts of stress induce better performance. There will most likely be some questions that catch you off guard. You will probably experience difficulty recalling some material you studied. Recognize that while the test is very important, the test by itself shouldn't cause a failing grade in the class. Focus on your breathing. Take a 3-second breath in and a 5-second breath out. Repeat this 3 times. Know your personal triggers. Visual triggers include the sight of students getting up and turning in their test, a room becoming more and more empty, people turning the pages of their exams, the time on the clock, and the door opening and closing as people leave. Auditory triggers include the sound of pencils dropping on the table, backpacks being zipped up, desks moving around, the sound of clocks ticking, and the sound of people outside of the classroom. Here are some possible solutions to triggers. Choose your seat wisely. What seat might be exposed to the least amount of distractions? Perhaps sitting right up front might prevent you from scanning the room for distractions. Sitting away from a window might be wise for those who feel they are easily distracted. Avoid the temptation to look up often. Stay focused on the exam in front of you. Drown out sound by sitting near a noisy fan or vent. Or use earplugs. Stress reduction techniques. Positive self-talk, such as, I can do this. Stay focused. Focus on your breathing. Do a pre-test review of concepts, formulas, and key points. Do a memory dump. Write down keywords, formulas, and acronyms you have memorized for the test on a separate sheet of paper, but be sure the instructor knows you did this in class and from memory. Checking over the test. Go back over and check to be sure you answered all the questions. Do not change an answer unless there is indisputable evidence that your answer is incorrect, you had misread or misunderstood the question, or if you recall information or find the correct answer in the test. For post-test review, verify correct answers and find answers to questions you didn't know. Find where these questions were in your study material, such as lecture, textbooks, PowerPoints. Record these answers for future review. Give yourself credit for the ones you answered correctly and do not focus on your mistakes. Thank you for participating in our test-taking strategies presentation. I hope this information has been useful and I hope you have a wonderful semester.